Hello and welcome to Lost in Chronologically Lost, episode 42, where this time we actually get to where I first began my journey with Lost, which is Alex being shot. That's one of the first things I remember ever seeing about this show.
Yeah, that's a spoiler, and that must have been a weird introduction. I don't know what I would expect the show to be if that was the first thing I saw, but it's not what it is.
No, I was very intrigued, and I watched the rest of season 4 as it came out, which was only like a couple episodes, and I kept asking all these questions, and my mom would yell at me for asking so many questions about the show. So then she got a friend to lend her the DVDs of the first 3 seasons, and then eventually bought the season 4 DVD when it came out for me to watch to catch up for season 5. So it was a fun time, a fun summer.
That is definitely not chronologically lost.
No, it is not.
Anyway,
so where do we begin with chronological loss in these episodes?
I think we begin with a very awkward meeting where everyone sits around just looking at Ben. And then Locke brings Miles in, and the fact that Miles is tied up and yet Ben isn't is whack.
That's what, as Miles points out, he's like, Ben will figure out a way to get out of this, because, a few days ago I saw him locked in your basement, and now he's eating dinner with you guys. Like,
yeah. And the thing is, there's no step of that feels like, what the fuck? How did this happen? I mean, I think letting him out is pretty whack, but it's like, you get why Locke did that. Like, Ben just makes it happen.
Yeah.
So Locke says it's time for no more secrets. That is a lie. I don't even think it's an intentional lie. I think Locke is just in so deep on not revealing secrets that he doesn't even realize secrets that he should reveal.
Yeah. So, also Ben reveals that his spy is Michael, because since it's already been revealed to the audience, now it can casually be revealed to everyone else.
Yeah. And anyway,
And to be fair, everyone is pissed about that because they still hate Michael.
Oh yeah. We get some reactions to Michael's presence these episodes, and it's good. But yeah, so and they also just have Miles say they're here for Ben. And that's basically the only secret that Locke actually gives when he says no more secrets. But, it is fucked up that the killer of the woman that Hurley loved is still around.
Yeah. So, then Saeed and Desmond on the boat, they wake up to an alarm because someone was trying to desert, so the captain is just beating their ass. But then he points out, he's like, I'm doing this to help you because... Remember what happened last time? Like,
there is not necessarily a good option here.
Yeah, it's...
Yep.
I mean, either you get your ass beat by the captain for trying to leave, or you end up like Minkowski.
Yep. So then, he even calls over Michael to clean up the mess, and Saeed just comes up, talk to him, and is like, no, we're talking. And Michael, I think, refuses at the time, but he does say that he is here to die, and, I mean, that's valid, because he literally couldn't pull it off without coming here, the whole dying thing.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
You can't blame him for that.
Yeah. Then we get the scene where Miles is like, Ben will find a way to get the money, don't worry about it.
Yep.
And then we have Ben tells Danielle, Alex, and Carl to go to the temple. Now... I don't know if you noticed this. When he points to the temple, it has a Dharma logo.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah, forget about that. It doesn't have a Dharma logo. Nope. Nope.
Gotcha.
They changed that.
Anyway, so he wants them to be safe, but this was a terrible decision. Like, you can literally look at the ensuing events and say, like, not in terms of, like, blame and, like, what was a wrong choice morally, but just in terms of cause and effect, what happens is Ben's fault.
Yeah, and to be fair, again, with all this talk of the temple and everything, and eventually you will see the temple, and it's like, if they got there, it would have been a safer place to be. It's just the process of getting there is extremely dangerous.
I mean, I feel like it'd be safer just because the others are like dozens of people with guns, which, is
Exactly.
a much better position compared to 6 trained guys with guns.
Yeah. So Saeed and Desmond, they confront Michael again, and he tells them everything in the form of a 30-minute flashback.
Yeah, when I got this, I mean, it was obviously a flashback cut, so I was thinking, like, which part did this cut to? And then I realized there aren't really any other flashback cuts. Was this just the whole thing? And yeah, you told me it is.
Yeah,
but then Saeed... So here's what you gotta love about Saeed. He doesn't mess around. He just gets shit done. He is not gonna spend an episode wondering what he should do. He immediately drags Michael to the captain and explains everything.
Yeah, he's like, yep, here's your rat, here's your spy. It's this dude.
He's a traitor, piece of shit. And then we get this very short scene of Carl and Alex talking like, oh, is Ben playing us? And then Carl gets fucking shot.
Yes. And then Rousseau says she loves you to Alex, and then Rousseau gets shot.
Yeah.
And then Alex surrenders by saying she's Ben's daughter.
Yeah.
And that's the end of an episode.
So... that's messed up. Like, okay, I'm not gonna mourn Carl, but Danielle is a character we were with for a long time.
Danielle 100% deserved so much better.
And
if she was gonna die, she deserved to have her own episode.
Yeah. And she did, I mean, I will say, like, a good, impactful death should be sudden. If a character gets a whole episode, you might just see it coming. Like, I don't want them to, like, I appreciate that this was so unexpected, and it doesn't piss me off as much as, say, like, Shannon. Like, at least Danielle got to meet her daughter.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I mean, you definitely feel the loss.
Still, though, this you feel the season 4 writer's strike really hitting this episode.
They were just moving through. I think I wanted to mention, like, the first, like, real chunk of season 4, I was like, my notes are a lot longer, and that has kept happening. This is a trend. In the past, my notes were usually around, like, 8 pages long, because I go into detail just because, like, I type while I watch, so it probably doesn't need to be the long, but it tends to be. But season 4, my notes are consistently 10 pages long.
Wow. I write mine very short form, so I don't count how many lines there are, but I do notice I have to scroll a lot more as we go through these episodes to go through my notes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think this is a Shannon kind of case where it's like they couldn't think of anything else to do with the character, but it definitely you feel the loss. But I'm not going to mourn Carl.
It was like, I think they had always planned, I think once they had their timeline for the series, they planned for Rousseau will die to protect Alex. I think that was their plan.
This doesn't feel like she really protected her much.
And then the writer's strike happened, and they had to just absolutely rush through season 4 and all its little plot points to the point that what was probably a whole episode became this.
And I do think that, like, I don't know, the way that Ben just says, look, go do this, and then it immediately goes wrong, I think that would probably feel different in a longer season 4. And it would probably just be developed more as a plotline to the point that you couldn't as easily just point to it being Ben's fault because, like, it just would have not been as simple.
Yeah.
So then, meanwhile, Jack is feeling sick, and that doesn't go great.
One thing I wanted to say is when they kill Carl, when they kill Rousseau, they do it they get instant shots to the heart, instantly. Then they are such terrible shots when they're attacking the Dharma village that it's like, what? Where did your pinpoint accuracy go?
They were great shots when attacking the Dharma village when they attack the nameless randoms.
Right, well, when you're shooting at Sawyer, you can shoot 800 bullets and never hit them. Like, come on now. And also, you blow up Claire and she's still... What? Anyway.
Alright, I gotta mention, I'm pretty sure, realistically, silenced bullets are not that silent. Like that was like a flip. Like time I heard it, I thought it was a poison dart. I thought it was the others put sleeping darts. No, and those are supposed to be bullets. No, like that's so TV show fantasy silencing.
See, it's weird too because the scene of Alex dying, it will get replayed in a lot of previously on Lost scenes, right? Mm-hmm. And one, not only did they have the actress re-record her lines in my opinion, a much better way. They also redubbed in the gun sound effects to be like louder, like an actual gun. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just do this for the original episode? And I'm also like, y'all have redubbed other sounds before into the DVDs. I'm like, why wouldn't you just fix this one? Why wouldn't you just put in a different sound effect?
Well,
but whatever.
Whatever. Anyway, so Jack is sick, and then Bernard sees somebody wash up, and it turns out it's the doctor from the boat, which, yeah, time is out of sync. I think that is clear enough.
Yeah. So then we cut to Hurley, Sawyer, and Locke playing Risk.
Yeah. Hurley thinks you win with Australia, which is like a strategy an 8-year-old has.
Excuse me, Australia is the key to the whole game.
No, it's not. The rewards are too small. When you're busy turtling, your army will not grow as fast as everyone else's do.
No, you just make the one choke point.
No,
okay?
It doesn't matter. Because then, at the end of the game, you have the choke point and someone else has conquered the whole world, and they are going to get way more reinforcements.
You don't commit yourself to only Australia, but if you hold Australia, you'll always have a bonus, and then it leaves you free with more troops to conquer the rest of the board.
I just think it's not cost effective.
You don't fight from Australia. You keep Australia as a resource piece.
It's not cost effective.
It is extremely cost effective. Nope.
Okay, like, sure, if you're, like, already in the mid-game and you have the opportunity, yeah. But I'm just saying people who try and play around it from the start.
No, you do play around it from the start because the start is where it's the most valuable.
At the start?
You know what? Dude? No. We have to play a game of Risk so that I can destroy you then, okay? So...
No, let me tell you what destroys people in Risk. North America. It has a 5...
North America sucked. Don't even... No, get out of here with North America.
5-person reinforcement bonus, only 3 choke points. Very holdable. Whereas Europe has 5 bonus, and it has 5 choke points.
Okay, what... North America is still way too vulnerable.
No, it's not. It's the most defensible major continent.
But it's so hard to conquer compared to it's easier to even conquer Europe. It may not be as easy to hold Europe, but it's easier to conquer than North America is because North America has such a whack layout where you have to move pieces in between it's
all right.
No.
All right. I'll be the bigger person and move on.
Okay, fine, whatever.
I'm just kidding. I wanted to annoy you by saying I was being the bigger person. Anyway,
I will always stand Australia.
Anyway,
so then
I guess that's
Alex
a little parallel that they're playing a war board game and then a real war breaks out.
Yeah. So then the mercs they make Alex turn off the fence.
Yep.
But she puts in some code to give
alert them
warning.
So Locke gets a call, code 14J, and they go to Ben playing the piano, and they say the code. He freaks out. Just immediately grabs a shotgun from inside the piano bench.
Yeah, which is... It's just like, yeah, he always had this. Yep. If he had to shoot his way out, he was going to shoot his way out.
Yep. You know, that, of all the times where you can say, Ben is there because he wants to be there, this one is the truest.
Yeah, especially because this is also the episode where it would originally reveal that Ben's house had a secret back entrance in the
to
magic
Egyptian ruins.
Caves. Yeah.
Anyway, so he just hands the gun to Sawyer, and then he says someone's been captured. His fault. But he gets mad that they took 5 minutes to debate whether they should ask him at all, which, that was a mistake. And meanwhile, with the much less exciting plot, Jack is confirming the guy's throat was slit, and Daniel says a bunch of nonsense about, time is Wen is relative, and they suggest using the phone as a telegraph.
Yep. Anyway, so then go to the Mercs, just shooting at Darmerville, killing all the red shirts.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's like Sawyer tells a random person hide, they get shot. Another person walks out, immediately gets shot. Another person walks out, immediately gets shot. Very efficient. It's the only time we've even seen the extras at the camp at all. And he throws up a picnic table as his defense, and then a rocket launcher gets shot at Claire's house.
Yeah, but then Claire is fine.
Well, I mean, it didn't blow up the whole house. It just, collapsed the structure. It wasn't a house-sized explosion.
Yeah, so then Ben says only Jacob can help, so...
I mean, I do think Jacob could fuck these people up.
Yeah.
He's definitely magical.
Yeah, when Sawyer gets in the house, he's even like, hey, let's just throw Ben to the wolves. And they're like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
And then the doorbell rings. Miles literally rings the fucking doorbell.
I mean, yeah, it's I love Miles. In fact, I'm headcanoning. The Mercs definitely brought out Miles and said, okay, you go give them this information, give them the phone as our negotiation. And it was Miles' own decision to ring the doorbell.
Yeah. So... Yeah,
and
Ben's gonna try and negotiate. Miles, to be fair, he's like, I didn't know they'd shoot everyone. I wasn't prepared for all this.
Like, Miles is a good point. Miles did not know this was the extent of it. And they bring out their hostage. It's Alex, so Ben starts talking. And one thing I want to mention is the guy says he works for Widmore. Sawyer asks who Widmore is, and I just want to point out, Locke said no more secrets. He should have explained to everyone who Widmore is. But anyway, he and Ben start talking, and Ben just says, nothing stops you from killing everyone on the island once I go to you. And the guy's like, what kind of guy do you think I am? So Ben tells him he knows exactly what kind of guy he is.
Yeah, you're a war criminal. That's who you are.
Oh, yeah. And then they call out Alex, and Ben's like, counter-proposal, fuck off.
Yeah, and then, to be fair, this scene is pretty heart-wrenching, where Alex literally begs him for help, and he is so sure that this dude is bluffing that he refuses, and then...
He relies so hard on manipulation that he just wasn't ready for it to fail.
Yeah, and R.I.P. Alex.
Yeah. She deserved better.
100%. 100%.
Like, honestly, as a character, I think she was kind of often a plot device. She existed to tell other people things, move other things around. She never got a chance to do enough, and I was always waiting for her to do more. Just because she felt like somebody who she wasn't doing enough because she had to break out of the influence of her dad, who was not a great guy, but then she never got a chance to.
No, in fact, that is what leads to her ultimate demise.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you want a way to show Ben that the way he does things is wrong.
Yeah, so then Ben goes through the magic temple passage in his house, and then suddenly the smoke monster is attacking all the mercenaries.
And I want to point out, when he goes into his basement, I start to think, yeah, this was Goodspeed's house, right? So...
Yep.
And I was thinking, like, wasn't there that tunnel there? And then, yeah, he just opens it up, and here's an Egyptian tunnel. I think I got those reveals in the opposite order.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, yeah, the smoke monster just shows up. I think the smoke monster was a disappointment here. I think the Man in Black could have killed every mercenary if he wanted to, but instead the mercenaries,
Trust me, dude. If he wanted to kill all those mercenaries, he would have.
I know. The reason he didn't is probably that he still wanted the drama to happen, because he's all about creating drama. But, yeah.
And then we have Ben, mourning for Alex as she's lying there dead.
It's fucked up.
Yep, so then Daniel starts communicating in Morse code.
I wanted to mention one last thing. Remember how Locke's faction was supposed to be safer?
Yep.
Unfortunately, they had Ben with them.
Yeah, I guess but they had to take protect Ben with them.
And I mean, they did have the sonic fence. That whole thing got messed up by Ben.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's meaningful that, in a way, I mean, Ben, he prioritized his manipulation. He was sure the guy was bluffing over just doing what he could to save Alex. But at the same time, the reason they failed is because he wanted to protect Alex. He made a choice that was a wrong choice, but it was motivated by wanting Alex to be as safe as possible. And that's pretty sad.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
And so we have Daniel communicating in Morse code to the boat,
and
then
says, the helicopter's coming back, and Bernard calls him out.
Yeah, he's like, that's not what they said. They said, what are you talking about? The doctor's fine. So, and then he goes like, what, are you ever going to rescue us? And he's like, no.
And then Jack looks like he's going to vomit, and this is, I think, where we gather that he's really sick. You know, I do got to say, like, the whole Jack is sick thing is, like, it's kind of random in that I feel like it could have just not happened, you know? Like, you could just cut it out of the plot. Like, it was good stuff, honestly, but it didn't need to be in the plot. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's there for two reasons. I feel like it's there for one, so that Rose can be like, people are supposed to get better here, not
that's
get
true.
sick, so maybe what Jack is doing is wrong in trying to get off the island. And also, I think they're like, well, you know, we're nearing the end where I mean, you can see what the next episode titles are, so you know things are changing. And they're like, oh, I guess we've gone all this time and we haven't done the doctor gets sick thing yet. Let's just throw it in now.
And, you know, maybe it would feel better if the season was longer just because, like, it feels like this gets introduced and then resolved very fast, or it might feel like more of a developed plot line with more episodes.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, appendicitis does happen pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it's not,
yeah.
It's not unreasonable.
That's true. So then, meanwhile,
the
Miles...
Lost group is like, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to head to Jacob's cabin.
Miles,
and then Sawyer, Claire, and Miles are like, nope, we're out.
No, we're not. They're getting out of here. And...
They try to take Hurley too, but Locke is like, no, Hurley's staying with us.
I'm pointing my gun. Sawyer just, like, spins around, points his gun back, and Hurley's just like, chill the hell out. I'll go with Locke. I still want to point out it is whack because Jacob isn't at the cabin, but I guess that does go somewhere. In that it kind of makes sense. Well, we'll get to that. Anyway,
So then Jack wakes up and everyone is just arguing and yelling with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Is this where Daniel tells Charlotte that she has a bad attitude?
Yeah. Was it here? I think it was a little later. But,
Okay,
well, Jack is just saying, like, I promise to get you off the island, I'm gonna... And then he collapses again. And meanwhile, Miles feels that they're above Daniel and Carl's bodies. Which, that is very fucked up, that he just kind of, you know, has to experience that a lot. But honestly, the standout for me in this scene was that Sawyer actually started, like, being pretty supportive. He was, like, you know, telling Claire everything's gonna be alright, we're gonna go away from here. Which I just feel like old Sawyer just would not have known how to be that supportive and sensitive.
Yeah, well, it's also like, hey, you know, Jack's in a different faction. They ditched their leader Locke, so it's like now Sawyer has to be the leader.
I definitely feel like we're kind of... Like, Sawyer hasn't yet had a reason to really become a full leader, because he doesn't do that until the time travel arc. But I think we definitely see this kind of background, subtle character arc as, like, when there's nobody else, he does start to step up. But only when there's nobody else.
Yeah, so then, you know, Jack wakes up and he's like, oh, I had food poisoning. And Juliet's like, right,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you have
well,
appendicitis.
That's your appendix. And they gotta take it out, but it's not ruptured yet, so they start making a plan. Juliet tells Sun, you know, what supplies to get from the medical station, but she doesn't know what they are, and Daniel's like, hey, I've done animal autopsies.
Yeah, so Daniel and Charlotte are going to go get the surgical
And
instruments with Jin and Sun as their guards.
This is when Charlotte is like, they think we want to kill them, might as well keep playing the part. And Daniel's like, you have a bad attitude. And you know what?
Yeah, that's your problem, Charlotte.
You know what? Daniel has a great attitude. We like Daniel.
Yes, we stand Daniel.
Anyway, Juliet's like, okay, you can go, but hey Jin, here's a gun.
Yeah. Anyway, in the back of Sawyer's group, Sawyer tells Miles that he has a restraining order against Claire.
Which, like, kind of fair. Claire is definitely reasonably busy mourning Charlie.
Yeah, her boyfriend just died a week ago.
There's no room for anyone else to step in.
Yeah. Anyway, then Rose is like, it's pretty suspicious that Jack is sick when he's trying to leave.
Yeah, I mean, that does seem meaningful.
Yeah. So then, Juliet is shaving Jack's stomach in preparation for the surgery, and he wants to be awake to micromanage his own surgery. This is like the most
Jack moment.
Ultimate Jack moment. I have to be awake for my own surgery so I can micromanage you and how to do it.
Give him that he is the ultimate surgeon. She is not. But you know what? I mean, the way it goes is fine. Meanwhile, Jin's squad gets to the station, and we get a bit where Daniel's like, oh, I'll go in first to make sure it's safe. And my first thought is, yeah, he likes her. And then we see Jin and Sun being like, yeah, he likes her. And I did notice now, like, way before the later reveal, that Charlotte does kind of glance at them and smile, because she understands what they're saying.
Yep. And then so, when they're in there, Sun is like, can we trust these people? Can we do it? And since Jin knows that Charlotte can hear them talking, he feels like he just completely redirects. Like, I promise, I'll get you off the island, don't worry about it.
He goes
like,
full sappy.
Yeah. Because they know what we're saying.
Yeah. And then,
So then Lapita shows up to Sawyer's group and is like, yo, you gotta hide right now.
Yeah. And then Kimi and his squad show up, and we get a little tense scene of Aaron making little noises, and Frank just immediately tries to distract him, like, he just like, dude, we gotta go. I don't want to fly the bearings at night, and he does get Kimi to ignore it.
So then, back at the beach, Kate is going to be Jack's nurse because...
Yep. Well, not the nurse, the mirror holder.
Right. Well, I just said nurse because that's basically what the role is.
Yeah.
I mean, when the secondary doctor is a dentist, I mean, Kate's the nurse. Like.
Okay. Anyway, because Jack wants it that way. And Daniel returns with the stuff, and we get Jin going all, I know you understand me. And he's like, you smiled when we talked about you. If you continue to lie, I'm going to start breaking Daniel's fingers.
Yeah, and then he demands that Sun be on the rescue chopper. And she even says, well, what about everyone else? And he says, Sun will be on that rescue chopper.
You know what? That's fine. We support Jin here.
Yeah.
And Bernard offers to knock Jack out, I think. But he's like, no. And they start showing him getting cut, and they show all the blood, and it's whack. He starts screaming, and Julie's just like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't do... What did Jack expect to do? He's not going to be able to not move around while his insides are being cut out. Like,
and he's gonna distract the surgeon. That's what'll happen.
Yeah. So anyway, then Claire wakes up, and she sees Christian holding Aaron.
We're finally getting that plot line, but I don't really know which direction it's gonna go in because it gets weird. It
goes in the most whack direction you can think of.
I want it to go in the direction of Jack and Claire talking about how they had the same dad. I'm not even sure that's gonna happen because it is getting weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have more to say about that later. So, we get Bernard telling Kate she can come back in, and we see, Jack is sewn up, and Juliet tells Kate about their kiss and how, no, he was just trying to prove something to himself. He still loves you.
Yeah, which is like... I mean, at this point they had to know who was going to end up with who. And I just have to wonder, I'm like, why would you set up all this Juliet
Yeah.
stuff then? If you're
Like,
not gonna...
Like, I had the advantage of knowing it wasn't gonna happen, so I just didn't even get invested in it. When they kissed, like, honestly, if I was watching this non-chronologically, when they kissed, I probably would have just been like, oh, honestly, I like Juliet a lot. I probably would have shipped it over Jack and Kate at that point. But, like, because I
I know I did, for sure.
because I know, like, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I know this doesn't matter, whatever. Didn't worry about it. And also, Jack was awake while Juliet said that, so Juliet was really calling him out for, kissing her just for his own feelings.
And he doesn't deny it, though.
Yep. Well, he's also, I doubt he has the energy to say anything.
But, I mean, it's true.
It is true.
It's the truth.
And Hurley questions who builds a cabin in the middle of the jungle, and we do find out.
Yeah,
And
Horace
and
built a cabin in the middle of the jungle.
And also Ben is like, what? I was following Hurley.
Yeah, so these fucking idiots have no idea where they're going.
Then Saeed wakes Desmond up, and Kimi is back, and he's like, tell me who's on the island. And Saeed is like, no. And
he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go kill Michael for being the spy.
Well, first he wants to shoot the captain. The captain's like, what? I'm not the traitor. We fucking figured out who the traitor is. I'll go show you.
Yeah, and then he tries to shoot Michael, but the gun jams.
Yep, because Michael, he still hasn't accomplished his purpose.
Yeah, and then the captain stops him from trying again.
And
so then Sawyer wakes up and is like, hey, where's Claire? And Miles is like, oh, she just, walked off into the jungle.
Yeah.
He's like, bitch, what?
Where the hell is... I mean, I'm sure I'll get a bit more of it later, a little more focused, but right now, where the hell is Claire's plot going?
Well, you want to know something?
Is it something you should tell me?
You know what? I won't tell you.
Okay. I'll find out eventually. Anyway, it is funny how Miles is like, what, I couldn't follow Claire. I have a restraining order.
Yeah, and then they find Aaron just abandoned in the jungle. Which this is the most whack part of this entire plotline.
Don't do that, Claire. Don't do that.
Yeah. So then we have a whole dream sequence where Locke says, Horace built the cabin, so just go get the map to the cabin from my dead body.
And, I mean, I liked Horace. I liked him here. I think we would have already seen him some in the Ben flashback, right?
Yes.
But,
yes, we would.
Not all the Horace content we get in Season 5. But, I mean, he's not actually a bad dude. He's pretty chill.
Right. So there were actually some flashbacks here, but they were, scattered flashbacks. They were of when Locke was born, when Richard came to visit him as a child.
So it's when we start to get more, something's going on with Richard stuff.
Yeah, when Richard tries to recruit him as a teenager, and then finally when Abaddon is like, "Hey, guy who just got paralyzed, go on a walkabout."
All right, so it's filling out stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they're really leaning into Richard knew Locke was supposed to be important, but we don't know why he knew that yet.
But the reason is because Locke told him that he was going to be special.
Yeah. Make your own destiny.
Yeah. So then Hurley says the only reason that these three can see the cabin is because they're the craziest. Which I'm like, you know what, honestly, I would say that, except for Claire just walked off into the jungle and abandoned her baby. So I think she's at the top of the crazy charts right now.
But she also is at the cabin.
But you're right, she's also at the cabin, so, you know what, Hurley's got to figure it out.
So Locke takes them on a pit stop to the Dharma grave, and Hurley makes small talk about how Ben tried to kill Locke here, and Ben is like, yeah, that was kind of dumb of me.
I wasn't thinking clearly.
Yeah.
It's like, guess we're just going to brush past that now.
Yep. And he says, it wasn't actually his decision to wipe out Dharma, because we know he wasn't always the leader.
Yeah. So then, back on the boat, Kimi's like, hey, we're going to fly out soon, and he steals the captain's key in order to get the special orders.
Which, at first I was like, what the hell is this? But I guess it's It's what Widmore knows that they're going to try and move the island, so this is to stop them from doing that plan.
Yeah, and the plan is murder everyone on the island, and also apparently rig the boat with a bunch of fucking C4.
Yeah, that is, we'll get to that later. But, anyway, the captain, I was like, I don't trust this guy for a while. He's a good dude, and Kimi is just, like, treating him like his bitch.
Yeah, so he gets Saeed Desmond a little boat, and it's like, hey, here, just go. I'll say you stole it, whatever.
Yep, and, yeah. So then, Locke says Hurley can go home, and Hurley's like, yeah, no, that's not going to be safer. And Ben gives Locke some praise for his manipulation of Hurley there.
So then Lapidus asks Michael, hey, why didn't you reveal yourself sooner? He's like, I was one of the few people who was like, hey, I don't believe the whole fake plane crash wreckage. Why not just tell me?
Yeah, and then Michael's like, your boss put the plane there.
Yeah, and he says, don't fly those mercs back. Don't do it.
He says,
and then they see Kimi getting some mysterious device put on him.
I don't know.
Which in real life, I believe, was just some sort of portable radio thing.
Yeah.
But it's a magical device in...
Oh, it's
in the
magical?
show that
okay.
It's technological, but it's
okay.
Highly advanced technological to the point where it's basically magic.
I thought maybe it would let him detonate the bomb.
It is a detonator. That is part of it.
Okay, but yeah, it does several things then. All right.
It does several things. Even though it's just a portable radio.
So then Desmond
Desmond refuses to get back on that boat. He's like, no, I'm not going back.
You know what? Fair, and that's more room for other people on the boat. On the raft.
Yeah.
And, I gotta say, there are some characters that I know end up back in the world. There are some characters I know end up time traveling. There are some characters I don't know what happens to them. Maybe they end up back safe on the world, because I'm sure Desmond would just stay with Penny and refuse to come back when, like, Locke asks people to.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure.
And also, Locke wouldn't have to ask him to, because he wasn't on the plane originally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, but either way, I don't know for sure that Desmond lives, and there is a bomb here. They better let Desmond reunite with Penny. They better not pull that kind of tragedy.
I mean, wouldn't that just be the thing, though?
Anyway,
so Ben starts lamenting that his destiny is not to be super special like Locke is.
Yeah, he's like, I used to be chosen, I got a tumor, and my daughter died. And
then Hurley finds the cabin.
Yeah. And, meanwhile, the mercenaries are getting packed up, and... Omar mentions that, the Morse code messages say you washed up with your throat slit to the doctor. And then Frank begins his protest. He's like, I'm
not flying you out.
And Kimi just kills the doctor, which is a dick move, but he is a war criminal. And the captain shoots one of the mercenaries. It's like, yeah, no, fuck you. And the moment he glances away, Kimi grabs a gun and shoots him immediately.
Yeah, so then Lapidus caves and starts flying it.
Yeah, he's only human.
Yeah, so then Julia sees that Jack is now up and moving around, and it's like, bitch, get back in your bed. Like, you just had surgery.
But then they see the helicopter fly over them, and they drop a bag on the camp, which turns out to be Frank dropping it. Which, he probably had to, sneakily do that. Which, good on him. Good on him.
Uh-huh.
And it's a new phone, so they want to follow.
Yeah. So then Ben and Hurley, they refuse to go in the cabin. They're like, nope, I'm not going to have anything to do with that. So Locke goes in and sees Christian Shepherd in the cabin.
So, I'll give it this. It makes sense that you wouldn't actually be able to meet with Jacob in person anyway, and it makes sense that what they would actually do is have a place where Jacob and the island can talk through a ghost to you. It makes sense that that's what the leader of the others would have the ability to do as a way to communicate. it just whacked that they said Jacob was ever here.
Oh, was that your read on this?
Is that not supposed to be my read on this?
I think it's supposed to be, but then they will later retcon it to be something else.
I don't even know.
I mean, who can look like Christian Shepherd?
Okay,
basically?
if it's the Man in Black, then sure, it's the Man in Black.
It's him.
Look, I watched this whole scene being like, God, is this his real ghost or the Man in Black?
See, the answer to whether or not it's his real ghost or the Man in Black is something that they always decide retroactively when they have been putting pieces together.
So, is there any point in, like, reading into what he says here as, like, oh, the Man in Black wants that? Because he tells him to move the island, which I thought was supposed to be good.
Yeah, that is what the Man in Black wants, apparently.
Okay, you know what? I'll worry about the Man in Black when we actually get some proper the Man in Black content. But anyway,
again, if you remember back in like episode, what was it? Like episode 1, at the very beginning, when Locke falls down that well, right? And he gets there, and Christian Shepherd's there, and
I do remember that.
It's like, hey, Ben turned that wheel, but I said you had to do it. So,
yeah, I do.
Go fix your own problem.
Oh, don't worry. I have been thinking about that and how the events that we are seeing will lead to that. Anyway, meanwhile, Claire is here and she's like, I'm fine, I'm with him. Which I guess means we have to look at it like the Man in Black has just been manipulating Claire, God knows why. But here's the thing about Claire. She is another character where I don't know if she ends up safe in the regular world or dies or something else. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. And you could definitely write this to have her end up on the helicopter or a boat somehow and still end up saved. It could go that way. I don't know if that's what they're doing here because I have no idea what the hell this plotline is for her.
Yeah, it's a weird plotline.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then Christian's also like, just don't mention Claire to anyone.
Yeah. Which I would have thought that this was something... Like, okay, if this was really his ghost, then I would have thought he was on the important business of telling Locke what to do, but then as a personal side thing, he wanted to talk to his daughter, who is oddly happy to see him because she should hate him, but maybe after so long living on an island, she'll take what she can get. But then if it's the Man in Black, what does he want with her?
Yeah, so... Then he tells Locke, you gotta move the island.
Yeah. Also, meanwhile, Hurley opens a candy bar, then realizes he should share and splits it with Ben. And there's something funny about this duo.
Mm-hmm. So then everyone argues what to do with the new phone that just landed at the beach. And, Daniel calls it, and they just hear over a speaker that the Mercs are going to the Orchid.
Yeah, so we're finally getting Orchid content, because I have still been waiting to see why there's that one time where Miles said, wow, all you people can suggest is going to the Orchid, then going to the beach, then going to the Orchid, then going to the beach. I still want to see how that ends up being the case, and we're finally getting Orchid stuff.
Yes, so, and then Jack's like, hey, let's head out and everything, and Juliet's like, Jack, you just had surgery. Calm the fuck down. And
Jack is like, you calm the fuck down, I'm going. And meanwhile, Daniel's like, dude, we have to get off this island. Like, Daniel, why can't you tell everyone that? Why can't you tell everyone what's going on? Yeah. And also, how do you know what the Orchid or the secondary protocol are?
Apparently he just does.
Okay. He's so smart.
You know what, Widmore himself personally visited Daniel, so maybe he got some special treatment in knowing the plans.
Yeah, and you know what, he's smart. Maybe he just figured it out because he's that smart.
So then Kate and Jack are trekking about, and he's bleeding from his wound. He's like, no, it's just bleeding around the stitches. It's good.
Yeah.
And Kate's like, yeah, you're an obvious liar.
Anyway, they get Miles and Sawyer, and of course, so they kind of they explain what happened on each side, and what this of course leads to is Kate has to go home and take the baby, and Sawyer gets to go with Jack. Classic Lost writing.
Yeah. So then Saeed arrives at the beach,
Yeah, and he's
all.
like,
That scene is
let's...
for right now.
Yep. And meanwhile, Ben says they're going to the Orchid. They're gonna move the island.
And then Hurley's like, if you knew that they were coming in the first place, why wouldn't you just move the island then? And he's like, it's dangerous and unpredictable, so that's why.
Which, that's fair.
And to be fair, you will see how dangerous and unpredictable it can be later, so I'd...
Yeah. Anyway, so then...
Then Ben uses like a mirror to communicate with the others.
And we don't find out what he told them to do yet, but I wonder if it has to do with what we see Richard doing later.
Yeah, again, even if you know Morse code, it's... I saw what the wiki says he says, and you don't see the whole message because the camera cuts away for a bit. Yeah. So it's like and the bits that we do get, it's not enough to even form a semblance of what he could be saying.
Alright. Meanwhile,
so Daniel's like, hey, well, Saeed is off doing his mission. I'm going to go ferry people between the island and the boats.
I mean, that's the thing. He might not tell everyone that they're screwed, but he is going to try to help. He's a good dude. And they do get Sun and Jin going first, which, yes, good.
And Kate gives Aaron to Sun to take to the boat.
Yep.
So...
And... Jin and Sun smile together as they're finally getting off the island, and it's so nice. And where the hell is she in Season 5?
You will find out soon. We are almost at the end of Season 4.
Anyway, Hurley points out that if they move the island, so do the mercenaries go with them. And Ben's like, I'm working on that, which I'm sure he has a plan.
Yeah. So then... Sun and Jin arrive at the freighter, and they see Michael, and they just, stare daggers at him.
Jin should beat his ass.
Yeah, and so he's fixed the engine. So then Jack and Sawyer, they find the helicopter with Lapidus handcuffed to it, so he can't leave.
So, I think that they are basically just gonna free him, and, start using the helicopter, they're just gonna fuck off and strand the mercenaries, and that is so justified.
Yep.
And
so then Sun asks how Michael's here. He's basically like, well, I'm here to try and make up for what I did. So
I mean, kind of. I guess that's part of it with him.
Anyway, then they're like, oh, there's something wrong with the radio room. Let's go see what it is. And it's just filled to the brim with C4. So... That ain't good.
Where were they keeping it? God. And
I don't know. I guess they were just keeping it in that tiny little file cabinet with the rest of the special orders.
So it's not Michael that blows up the boat, it turns out. I totally got baited by Chronologically Lost, essentially.
Yep.
And...
so then...
Jeez, I mean, I do have to wonder, and I've wondered this for ages, but, I think the bomb does go off, but then they do get home, so, I don't know how that all exactly plays out.
So then Kate and Saeed, they get captured by the others.
Yep.
That's that scene.
Many more guns.
Then Ben gives Locke an explanation of what to do to get to the real version of the Orchid, because he's going to go surrender himself, because that's part of his plan.
Yep, and... Well, the last thing that happens is he goes and does that and gets knocked out. And that is where we leave off in these episodes.
Yeah, so next time we are going to finish Season 4.
Alright.
But here's the thing. So the next two episodes, they're going to be episode 79, December 31st. This is the title is wrong on this. It should say December 30th to the 31st, but whatever.
Okay.
And... then January to October 2005.
Huh.
So, I will say, what do you expect to happen then?
I mean, I think we are gonna see, for the people who get home, I guess they would have been flashbacks or just, concurrent episodes with time travel stuff. I don't know exactly. We're just gonna see kind of some of what some various things of how turning points of how their lives went, and then eventually, when we see Locke convince them to come back, we also need to see what was happening to them before that, and I don't know exactly how it would have been structured, But, I mean, the great thing about Chronologically Lost is that here it is structured by I will watch it next.
Yeah, you are bang on for what season 5 was, which is that there's no flashbacks and everything. It was, here's stuff happening with the people on the island, and here's stuff that's happening with the people who are not on the island.
Yep. Which, I don't know much. I think there was Jack Kate stuff alluded to, but I don't really remember anything specific that was said. But I know that Hurley is going to make up with his dad.
Yes. So, there's been something else I've been meaning to tell you, and I think now is the best time to tell you, considering we will be covering some of it next time, which is... So, I told you that Season 4 doesn't really contain that many flashbacks other than a few certain episodes, and that is true. But even you notice, you're like, I thought I saw some, like, flashback noises, flashback cuts happening.
Yeah.
That is because Season 4 did not feature flashbacks. It featured flash forwards to what was happening off of the island.
What?
Once they had...
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so they're like... Wait, flash forwards?
Yes.
To, like, the people who get home?
Yes.
So they spoiled that would happen.
Well, what they really did is, Lost was getting a little stale. It was Season 3. Lost was getting stale. And so, for the Season 3 finale, it's like, hey, let's show this other flashback of Jack, and let's show all this thing. And then the end of the flashback reveals that it wasn't a flashback, it was actually a flash forward. And then they just kind of continued that for Season 4. And...
So you watch Season 4 knowing that Jack gets...
Yes, you do.
I gotta say, that isn't now... I was gonna say that's different from what I experienced, but I guess it's not that different because I also watched it knowing that Jack would get home.
Yeah, again, the people who came on the plane, Jack, Kate, Hurley, Saeed, that they make it off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow, that's an experience I can never have, but it's actually not that different from the experience I did have. When Jack goes, like, super insistent that he will get them off the island, it's alongside you knowing that he actually will. At least some of them.
Yes. Again, I didn't know when the right time to reveal this was. I was like, I'm not going to say it when it immediately happens, because that's kind of a... it's not a spoiler, because I'm not telling you what happens in them, just that it does happen.
No, I don't mind you not telling me till now, but...
But I figured since next time we will be covering some of the content that was covered in the flash forwards, I'm like, I'll just tell you now to get ahead of it. But it was...
That's just gotta be weird structurally.
It's so weird, but here's the reason it is so weird structurally. It's because then Season 5 goes in and fills in the gaps from the flash forwards, because the flash forwards, it would show you things, and it's like, okay, I guess that's happening, but it just makes you even more confused, right? And then Season 5 goes in and fills in all the gaps to make you... So
I'm going to get a continuous experience that was some flash forwards and some flashbacks.
Yeah. So you'll get some things, not even flashback. It'll just be like what was happening at the time,
just episodes
mixed with flash forwards, and it will be really weird because you'll have one scene where it's like very confusing and people are talking in mystery, and then the immediate next scene is they completely drop the pretense of mystery because it's Season 5 now and we don't need to be mysterious. Like,
damn. Okay. Well, I thought that all of the rest of the show would just be a straight shot forward, but skipping the time travel. And it's kind of fun that, the whackness of when we were going through all the flashbacks, we're still getting some more whackness.
Lost will never stop with the whackness. Let me tell you that. It's... Anyway, I am
the chronological
super excited.
whackness.
Yeah, I am super excited for the next episodes we will be covering, because we're finishing season 4.
Yeah, that
we're getting
one-
to the off-island contents.
Season 4
You
went
know.
by in a flash.
Oh,
Even though season 5 is the one with the flashes.
yes, it's crazy. It's just a lot. So I hope you join us next time, where we will be covering episodes 79, December 31st, and episode 80, January to October 2005.